We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bring news just for you. It's Wednesday, August 28th here in Seoul. I'm Song Yujin, and this is News Generation. Today we're joined by Park Ki-hoon.
Thanks for having me.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
And Fabio Gonzalez.
Lovely to be here.
Lovely to have you back. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. Now, as usual, we're going to start with our news feed, which covers different hashtags and news items that have been trending online. Football stars and fans are paying tribute to Sven-Goran Eriksson after his death this week. Eriksson is best known for being the manager of England's men's national football team from 2001 to 2006. David Beckham shared a heartfelt message on social media expressing that he would be forever grateful to Eriksson. Wayne Rooney, who made his national team debut under Eriksson, described him as a special man and thanked his former manager for all the memories, guidance, and support. England's current captain Harry Kane acknowledged that while he didn't have the opportunity to play under Eriksson, he knows how highly regarded and respected he was. Eriksson, who was 76, passed away on Monday after battling pancreatic cancer. Back in Korea, in response to the escalating issue of deepfake pornography on the messaging app Telegram, the Korea Communications Standards Commission held an emergency meeting on Tuesday. The commission plans to intensify its monitoring and reporting of Telegram-related cases and will take all necessary action, including referring cases to the police. Additionally, the KCSC will push the app to implement stronger measures, such as the removal of videos, to combat the spread of such content. The issue gained significant attention this week when deepfake videos of female students, minors, teachers, and soldiers surfaced online, with numerous Telegram chat rooms sharing similar content. A recent survey by Samsung Electronics reveals that 8 out of 10 Gen Z workers in Korea turn to artificial intelligence as their first go-to resource when facing challenges at work. This figure is 19 to 25 percentage points higher than their peers in the United States, United Kingdom, Germany, and France. Additionally, Korea had the highest percentage of Gen Z respondents who believe AI can enhance their work methods, with nearly 80%, a figure almost 20 to 30 percentage points higher than the 4 countries mentioned earlier. So here in the studio, I want to ask our panelists, do you also regularly use generative AI tools for your schoolwork or work in general?
Of course, I think that relying on AI to generate data can be a little bit risky, but at the same time, it is a very good tool for summarizing or improving text. That is why I use it as a text refining tool. So basically, I usually tend to write my own drafts, write my text, and then I ask AI to write it in a more eloquent or in a more casual way. And that way, I still have to, have a look and kind of like change it to my own words.
Right.
But it really helps to express your thoughts in a more concise and prepared way.
Right. I heard that it's really good at improving grammar and also syntax when you put in your original script or what you write to these tools. So, Fabio, I guess you use it for your schoolwork?
Especially for like kind of avoiding like repetition or like using the same words all the time. Try to ask AI to, maybe provide a new example of how to use the same information in another way, but still try to make it sound like it's yourself.
Right. Now, what about you, Ki-hoon?
Well, for me, unfortunately, when I used to go to school, there was no such thing as AI.
Yeah, me too.
Back in the day, there was no such thing. So, but nowadays, when I do a lot of translation work, I would definitely use AI as a guide. And it definitely saves a lot of time. And like what Fabio said, it gives you like creative ideas, expressions, or even words to use that I haven't known before. And also when I need to write emails, I'm not too comfortable with writing emails in Korean. Yeah. So I would we talked about that before the show. So we would come up with an English version and ask AI, can you come up with a Korean version in a more formal way? And I'll use it as a reference. But I wouldn't use copy and paste it because it'll be plagiarism and copyright issues as well. But I definitely utilize it more and more these days because it's prevalent, it's everywhere. Everyone uses AI without knowing, but especially when it comes to work and trying to save time as well. And it's very efficient. And if you know how to use it properly, it would definitely help you, becoming a better worker and performing well. And there are a lot of tutorials online as well, where a lot of like teachers as well, they teach you how to utilize AI in the best way. So, I mean, for those of you who haven't used generative AI yet, do it. It's the best.
Right, but make sure to fact check what
Exactly.
the generative AI gives you. And that was our news feed for this Wednesday. So we're now going to move on to our main discussion of the day by taking a look at the screen.
According to data released by the Korea Tourism Organization last month, the number of international students who came to Korea to study during the first half of this year surpassed 200,000 for the first time. This is the highest figure since records began and represents a more than 50% increase from the same period last year, which saw 130,000 students. Why are more students from abroad choosing Korea as their study destination?
Right, so we actually talked about what it's like to study in Korea last month. I remember that Fabio joined us as a panelist back then, right?
Exactly, yes, I did.
Right, so it's been about a month, and after we talked about that on our episode here on NewsGen, this new figure was released by the Korea Tourism Organization. So I want to ask our panelists, what do you think about this record-breaking number of international students in Korea?
It's definitely an impressive number and a positive sign that Korea is becoming a more popular country to international students. I haven't had first-hand experience of actually, seeing international students, as I am not a student anymore, unlike Fabio. And I don't really live like near those universities where I'll see them. But one thing I did notice was seeing more foreigners working in restaurants, construction sites, and even in the streets in general. And I can kind of tell whether they are tourists or not, or like people who are residing in Korea, just by the vibe they give out. And I also had the chance to meet a few international students here in Arirang for an interview. And they were saying, actually one of them they were actually brothers. They came from Pakistan. And now Pakistan is like not the most common country you'll hear in Korea as an international student, but because like after I heard that they were saying so many good things about Korea, and it seemed like Korea is slowly becoming a more multiracial country, and in turn I think we all need to we need to be ready to accept more people from a diverse ethnic groups to tackle the issue of obviously the declining population here in Korea, which is another factor that we talked about many times on this show, but let's not go into it because it is very depressing, but I think we're heading in the right direction by opening our borders to more people from around the world.
Right, and I think that Fabio could give us a more clear picture on the rising number of international students, because you're an international student yourself. And are you actually seeing more students at your university coming from abroad?
Oh, definitely. You see, I first discovered Korean culture through the internet in 2013, when its influence in the West was not as prevalent.
Right.
But I have to say that at the time, if you liked K-pop or K-dramas, it was such a specific niche that it was almost impossible to find other people that actually liked it too. But then, with time, I got to experience myself how in Spain, people started to recognize Korean culture a lot more. It was, it just kept growing as a whole thing. So over the years, I've seen this change. And then I feel like one of the things we really need to tackle is the passion that the fans have. And that really helped the general public, the mainstream public, to actually know a lot about the Korean culture.
Right, so we're definitely witnessing more international students here in Korea. Data also shows it. So I want to ask you guys, why do you think Korea has become such an attractive destination for these students?
Well, I think there are a number of reasons that explain the growing popularity of Korea that appeals to international students. The main reason would have to be obviously K-wave, Hallyu, like K-pop, K-drama, K-movies, and so on. But besides K-entertainment, I think K-food also played a significant role, drawing people from around the world to grow their interest. But along with fun and food, I think interest in the Korean language itself, the culture and history, it grew as well, bringing more students from around the world wanting to, I guess, learn more and experience the Korean heritage. But also, by learning the language, it really helps you to understand so much more about the culture.
Right,
and
especially the local culture, right?
Exactly, and like quickly adapt to the people, and of course, like you said, like the local culture, and immerse into their own specific lifestyle. So whether the students' initial interest in Korea was because of their love for, your favorite K-pop idols or celebrities, I think Korean soft power, of course, along with hard power, has elevated to another level in recent years, now playing an important role as the global pivotal state.
The global pivotal state, right. Now, is there anything else you would like to add, Fabio?
I think he summarized all of the main points.
Oh.
The only thing that I would add is that it's not only these factors, but also the passion that comes with these factors. You see, whether you like K-food or K-pop or K-dramas, I feel like most people have encountered how much passion do the fans have regarding this K culture and K lifestyle, and I think that really had a very big impact on the overall impact that the culture has in the whole world. So I feel like some years ago, everyone started to get to know about Korea and the impact that big groups like BTS had all over the world. But at the same time, there was this kind of disconnection from the main public, thinking that this kind of like strong passion comes from a group that is difficult to get into. You either have to be completely obsessed with K culture or not. But then I feel like that line between the general public and the niche that is basically K culture for foreigners has started to being blurred a little bit, and I feel like it's just become more mainstream in all ways. And I think this is very prevalent between students, because nowadays if you ask international students living in Korea why they decided to come, the reasons might surprise you a lot of the times.
Please tell us.
So for example, most of the times I would expect them to say, oh, well, you see, I was a K-pop fan.
Yeah.
Or, I just love bibimbap. But then you get to know that actually that's not the case for everyone. Some of them discovered maybe how beautiful hanboks are. And they decided that, maybe I should at least travel. And after traveling, they saw that, oh, maybe this country might work for me.
Yeah, I want to study here or live here.
Exactly. There's other people that maybe encountered taekwondo. And there's other people who just thought, oh, maybe I just want to visit Asia. And I heard a lot about Korea these days. Maybe I should give it a try. So I feel like the reasons why people come are becoming more and more diverse. Of course, we have these main pillars that Ki-hoon presented.
The K-wave.
But I feel like it's changing a lot. And it's becoming so much internationally acclaimed by everyone.
Right, so many reasons why young students are coming to Korea to study and actually live. Now, to expand our discussion, we also asked our viewers if they had a chance to study in Korea, what kind of activities or experiences they would like to try out. And here's what 3 of them said. If we look at the comments, BennyD97 says, if I'm going to study in Korea, I want to explore different libraries and bookstores because I want to read some good stories from the past and some history. Leonteo93 says, I would like to immerse myself fully into the Korean culture, exploring historical sites, participating in traditional activities like tea ceremonies, wearing a hanbok, which is a Korean traditional dress, and participating in cultural exchange programs. Sylvian Mujike official says, my first priority would be to learn Korean. That way I could communicate properly then, and then I would study electronics. So our viewers shared some of the fascinating experiences that they would like to try out if they had the chance to live and study in Korea. But of course, living and studying in a foreign country comes with its challenges. So I want to ask our panelists, what are some common struggles that international students face when living abroad, let's say in this case, Korea?
So there are 2 sides to every coin, obviously, and research and survey was taken out to find how international students were coping in this country and which areas they experienced the most difficulties in. So Daily Truth News 24, an online news agency, and the MAC, a culture and arts newsletter website, both based in Daejeon metropolitan city, asked 144 students from 20 different countries studying in Daejeon about how difficult things living in Korea was. So let's take a look at the screen to see the data results. 31% of the respondents answered that securing a part-time job was the most difficult. 16% saying they struggled with economic stability. 15% of them responded to getting along with peers, Koreans. 14% said discrimination, like racism. 9% to healthcare, another 9% to food, and 6% as other. So looking at the top two reasons, because they found it hard to keep up with the housing costs, paying monthly rent called 월세 here in Korea, they had to seek part-time jobs to make ends meet. But, however, in doing so, employees were not as accepting. So let's say, employers were not as accepting and hesitant to hire these international students because there were a lot of paperwork and documents and a lot of restrictions in trying to hire them compared to obviously Koreans, and they didn't really want to go through all that trouble of hiring foreigners because of obviously language barriers and like I said, like documents, like legal documents that are required as well. So I think we all need to know that there are a lot of difficulties that international students are going through, and definitely I think there needs to be better policies to better support these international students because we are having a bigger influx of them and they want to start living here in Korea and start making money, studying here. But if we don't have the infrastructure, obviously, and if it's not heard by the government, we're not going to have more students come in. It will just eventually die down, and they will just eventually go back to their own countries, it's not going to help our country in the long run. So I think there needs to be better policies to really support international students like Fabio.
Right. Now, shifting our question to Fabio, I think you can share more about the first-hand struggles that you faced because you've been living in Korea for about a year now. The first few years, I think, are the most difficult when especially you try to live in a new country. So could you share more about your experience?
Of course. I would even say the first months are the most difficult. You're facing a completely different system, probably in a language that you might not manage 100%. And you also have to face a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of paperwork that maybe you don't really understand. You might not even understand the paperwork that you need to prepare to get all of your things together. And there's also a lot of expenses that you might have to face without having a bank account in Korea. For example, paying a very high deposit for a house. And then you also have other problems like not being able to do normal activities or use a lot of services without a foreign registration card, which is one of the most important things as a foreigner here in Korea. These foreigner cards usually take some time to get. In my case, I actually had some problems because I didn't do my own personal research, and there were also some other things that I needed to manage. So it ended up taking like 3 months to get. So that means that during that period of time, I couldn't actually use online banking or getting a Korean telephone number, which, as you know, is very important. Super convenient to buy online or to use some special type of services. And then, as Ki-hyun mentioned, there's this policy problem about doing part-time job or taking on other professional opportunities while doing your studies. Of course, I understand that as visa holders, we need some restrictions to actually make immigration work as a whole. But then I feel like a lot of people are dealing with problems for not having enough money. They might not be supported by a scholarship or by their family. So it's difficult to actually finish their whole studies here in Korea without getting some extra money. And at the same time, it might not even be about the money. It might be about getting that professional experience that might help them in the future if they want to get a working visa. So I definitely think that this system has its reasons for being this way, but there's also some things that might actually help immigration be better, more sustainable, and actually allowing people to come to Korea and provide for the country.
Right. So these issues and struggles definitely need more attention and it needs improvement. Now, to explore this topic even further, we're going to invite another international student currently studying in Korea to our talks right after this break. So today we're joined by Christopher Gao, a graduate student from the United States, currently studying at Seoul National University's Graduate School of International Studies. Welcome to the show, Christopher.
Thanks so much for having me.
Great, thank you for joining us. So our first question for you is, when did you first come to Korea and what field are you studying in?
Yeah, so I first came to Korea back in 2019, and that was as an exchange student. Then after that, I've been in Korea for about 2 years now. After being back in the U.S. for a while, now I'm here for my master's program, which is in international cooperation at SNU, the Graduate School of International Studies. And through that, I've been focusing on policy towards North Korea and the U.S.-ROK alliance, and also nuclear proliferation issues related to the peninsula and the broader region.
Wow. Christopher, what have been some of the highlights and challenges of studying in Korea as an international student?
Right. So I think, without a doubt, one of the biggest highlights of studying in Korea has been the opportunity to be in an environment where there's a lot of diverse backgrounds and perspectives, particularly in my field where we're learning and researching about international issues. So at my school, there's about 45% of the students are actually from a foreign country, and the remaining 55% are, of course, Korean. Notably, there's few Americans in my program, so being able to have discussions with these people from different backgrounds, especially those who may think very differently from me, has been a really valuable experience. Also, as someone who has an academic interest in the Korean Peninsula, it's been really valuable to learn from, of course, Korean experts who are the faculty at the school, and of course, they have a very different perspective from their American counterparts on many things. So, of course, also having a chance to improve my Korean every day, being here and taking classes conducted in Korean, has also been a great opportunity.
Could I ask you for only one short advice to give to our audience for people who maybe are planning to study in Korea?
One short advice. Yeah, I would say definitely working on your Korean as much as possible beforehand, whether that be taking classes or meeting a language exchange partner. If possible, attending a language school at Sogang or Yonsei KLI is a really good first step before attending a university here. Because I think that your panelists earlier talked about the fact that getting a job can be quite challenging as an international student, but taking that kind of burden off of the employer by being competent in Korean can be a really good way to get your foot in the door somewhere. So that would be a priority. If that's the only one I'm about, that's what I would advise.
Great, some very practical advice. All right, thank you, Christopher, for your time today. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Right, so ending off our discussion today, both of you have experience studying abroad. Could you also give one short advice for our viewers who have plans or want to study in Korea or abroad?
I mean, as a student, you'll be part of a certain university, or if you are here for work, you'll be under a different organization. And I'm sure each field has their own rules and regulations. So you're a visitor, right? It's not your country. So I think being careful all the time is really important, and not stepping out of the comfort zone too much and causing any trouble, because once you do get in trouble, you will not be as supported legally from this country, and you'll suffer a lot of consequences. So I think while you enjoy your time here, I think being safe is really the main key.
Right, because safety always comes first. What about you?
I would say socialize both with Koreans, with the native people, and also with foreigners, because both of them will allow you to have the perfect experience. Each group will provide you with different information, and they will also be very helpful in hard situations. Now I talk from personal experience.
Great, very great advice from our panelists, from our panelists as well. And that's all from us today, but Newsden will be back tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Korea time. Special thanks today to Park Ki-yoon.
Always a pleasure.
And Fabio Gonzalez.
So fun to be here.
And thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. We are
News Generation.